He has been tremendous off of the bench. Quickley, the reverse. What did he put on that?
Little English on the muffin.
Another devastating blowout? I think not. The Raptors fell down by as much as 19 points against the Phoenix Suns, allowed 39 points in the first quarter, and it looked like they were headed towards another game much like the Pelicans one, but they didn't. The Raptors clawed back, adjusted defensively, and got some valiant efforts from Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and the rest of the crew to lose by just 7.
I think the attention to detail on the defensive end was big. Our aggressiveness, our activity. We got a lot of steals in that third quarter, fourth quarter, early fourth. But I think just the attention to the detail and the activity on defense was fueling us in transition and getting us out into the open floor, which was helping us a lot where we're best at.
I thought that our defensive effort was good. In the first half, we struggled with their offensive rebounding, second chance points. In the second half, we kept them to only 3 second chance points. So a lot of good stuff, and we still need to continue getting better.
Grayson Allen just cooked the Raptors in the first quarter, scoring 21 points and dropping 3 after 3 after 3. Without Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes, or Bruce Brown, the Raptors tried to send help to contain the rim, but they got roasted on the perimeter. In the second half, though, they adjusted. They threw Quickley onto Allen, and he chased the sharpshooter off of the line to limit him and force him into bad shots. Chris Boucher played 23 minutes and finished the game, nearly putting up a double-double with 11 points and 9 rebounds after receiving multiple DNPs.
I just praise him in front of the whole team. He's putting a lot of work in. He's staying ready. He's staying professional. So his opportunity showed up tonight. He had those more continuous minutes. He was able to find some rhythm there. He was able to help us on the floor. But still, I expect more from him. More rebounding and more communication on defense. As a veteran player, he needs to be able to provide us that on defensive end, that he knows what we're in and how we need to execute. So we need even more discipline from him. But overall, I thought that he did a good job tonight.
And offensively, the Raptors were able to keep up because they were able to make their shots. 16 threes on the night, including 5 from Trent Jr, who finished with 30 points. But the real star of the show was Quickley, who finished with 21 points, 9 rebounds, and a career-high 18 assists with just 2 turnovers.
I just kept telling him to continue making right reads, and as the game progressed, he was able to find that balance, to be aggressive and to score out of pick and rolls, but also to find his teammates. I think he played unselfishly. He played the right way on offense, and proud of his growth. He also had 9 rebounds, so almost triple-double.
I was just trying to attack, and the defense was just collapsing. So just trying to play winning basketball, find open guys, and got great teammates, great shooters around me that just make a lot of shots, so it makes it really easy. Yeah.
Next plan is what, 20 assists? Is that the goal?
Get a win. That's the next plan.
Now, the Raptors lost this game, and if they didn't go down by 19 to start it, maybe the result is different. But if you want a silver lining, Quickley's play as of late has been incredible, and with some of these injuries, he's being asked to make more plays, and that is what we're going to break down in the film room. Immanuel Quickley's playmaking is popping in a few different ways for the Raptors. They're getting out in transition, and him pushing it in transition is opening up tons of looks for some of his teammates, especially from behind the arc like this Trent Jr shot. But he's also being much more patient in the pick and roll, not necessarily just using speed, but picking and choosing when to use that speed. This time, a nice hesitation move to get Jusuf Nurkic off of his spot, and then zips a pass to the corner for Grady Dick to hit the 3. Watch as he snakes this pick and roll with Boucher, puts Bradley Beal in jail, and you would like for him to keep his dribble alive here, but one counter to that is being able to use your pivot foot. And I thought tonight Quickley did a good job of using his pivot to create advantages. This time he, acts as if he's stepping into a floater, gets Bol to bite, and does a nice dump off pass to Boucher for the finish. But still, you would like for that dribble to be alive more. This time, he kind of gets walled off to the paint and there's nothing there. He picks up his dribble almost immediately. That's a great cut by Gary Trent Jr., but if Quickley had that ball alive, they could have reset it, maybe look for a different shot. Same play once again here. The paint is walled off for Quickley. Gary cuts again. And I appreciate the use of the pivot foot here, but I do want him to keep that dribble alive. And it's important when it comes to the next aspect I talk about. Teams are constantly afraid of Quickley's ability to pull up, especially in pick and rolls. And so they're very reluctant to throw out a deep drop against a guy like Quickley. This time, Nurkic shows for a little bit and then drops back, and it's too late. Boucher gets the dunk. That was a beautiful pass by Quickley there, recognizing that. The scoring unlocks the playmaking. But as we see here, there's still a lot left to be desired. So this time, same idea, empty side pick and roll. Nurkic shows and quickly attacks, gets Saben Lee off of his spot. But before that, there was a moment just right there, as soon as Saben Lee gets bumped off his spot, that Quickley could throw that lob to Boucher. Instead, he settles for the floater, which is fine. He's great in the floater range, but just more playmaking that he can, there was an advantage there that he could have created for his teammate, leveraging his scoring. And here's why teams are afraid of that pull-up shooting and constantly show two. So here, pick and roll, you see two guys come at him, Quickley knocks that down. Even as a screener off of the ball, Quickley is able to screen, then pop out, relocate, and knock down shots. And this becomes important when you add in the playmaking element. The exact same play, much later in the fourth quarter, Quickley slips, and because the defense is scared of that shot, Eric Gordon rotates over, which creates a wide open shot for Grady Dick, using that scoring gravity to make plays for others. This time it forces the switch, and I really like the fact that Quickley can punish switches with his speed. So this time, nice little crossover, gets inside and finishes. But ultimately, there's still so much more for Quickley to learn as a playmaker, and that starts with being able to keep his dribble alive in these situations. Because like in this stacked pick and roll that the Raptors run, two comes to the ball almost immediately. You see Durant, you see Nurkic. Nurkic shows and then drops back immediately, but Quickley picks up this ball, and so the advantage is negated. He can't pull up because Durant is recovered, and he's not able to make the pass either. And so nothing really comes of that. There is so much more that Immanuel Quickley can do as a playmaker, as a scorer, leveraging his shooting ability, leveraging his ability to be bursty in transition, to be able to feast off of those advantages, to be able to make plays for others. It's a yin and yang, one works in tandem with the other. And I really want him to look into exploring that aspect, using his scoring gravity, his off-ball gravity to make plays for others. The same thing sort of applies off-ball for Grady Dick when they're running these staggered pin down actions and two guys fly to the ball when Grady catches it. That's two guys coming to the ball and he can dump it off, right? He can make that pass down low, and that creates an advantage. Quickley in a lot of ways does that off ball, but he can also do it on ball because he's a pick and roll initiator, because teams are afraid of that pull-up shot. And so he has to find a way to leverage that in order to make plays for his teammates. He did tonight, folks. 18 assists. I thought he was phenomenal throughout the pacing of the game. He was calling out plays. He was dictating plays for everybody else, managing the game in a lot of ways. And this is what I wanted to see with Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl injured. There were going to be ample opportunities available for a guy like Immanuel Quickley to be a point guard, to try and experiment and, make passes that might be ill-advised or figure out what he would do in certain situations. And while the Raptors don't have a full personnel to really work out the kinks of some of these things, the processing is something that's important for his development moving forward and for the future. There's going to be a contracting here soon for 4 or 5 years. You want to see his playmaking develop and grow, over this next contract to the point where it's very good, to the point where you can rely on it as your starting point guard. I think of a guy like Jamal Murray, right? Jamal Murray, when he came into the league, wasn't necessarily the best playmaker, but he was able to leverage his scoring to become a playmaker. And obviously, playing alongside Nikola Jokic makes things a lot easier, but Quickley is going to be playing alongside Scotty Barnes, who can create an advantage himself too through his playmaking. I think the work is going to be done to find a way to leverage that scoring ability to make passes and to make plays for his teammates. And tonight was a bit of a sneak peek of that. Really, really awesome game. I thought throughout, Gary Trent Jr. knocked down some timely shots for them. The Raptors in general had a game plan defensively that didn't work in the first half. They were chasing out to shooters tons of times. They just weren't able to rotate over. Tons of miscommunications on those rotations too. And so they switched a couple of things in the second half, putting Quickley on Grayson Allen, really, really saying we're okay with you getting to the paint, but we're not going to let you kill us through 3-point shots. So they flipped the adjustment really on its head. And I thought that worked. I would have to go into the film and look at like schematically exactly what they changed. But the one thing that popped out to me was that they had Quickley on Grayson Allen. And that was much easier because Quickley is just so good at navigating through screens, especially off ball, and his awareness to be like, all right, shooter's here, let me relocate and find him, was really, really special. A two-way performance from Immanuel Quickley in all regards. Like I said, Gary was great. RJ got to his own. It feels like every time you look up, RJ Barrett has 20 points and 10 rebounds. I just like he's a walking 20 points a game. He gets to his shots. He does so efficiently. You obviously want him to like explore different areas of his game, but man, he does what he does pretty well. Chris Boucher needs to play, folks. I think Chris Boucher needs to play. This isn't some sort of indictment on Darko Rajakovic, as Twitter likes to make it out to be. Not what I'm saying at all. You guys have seen my tweets. You guys know that I am very much so pro Darko at the moment because I think he's done an awesome job with this team. But Chris Boucher should play. I understand from a developmental purpose, I've talked to him. We've had these press conferences and pregame stuff and, talking to him, seeing what he says. A lot of the reason Chris Boucher isn't playing is because of development. You want to give opportunities to Jonte Porter, who didn't play tonight, by the way. You want to give opportunities to some of these younger guys and get them reps, right? Tonight, that clearly wasn't the case. You wanted to get the size. You were obviously missing a lot of bodies. And so throwing out Chris Boucher made a lot of sense. I actually think Boucher might start or should start with this, sort of iteration with the team without Jakob and Scotty Barnes. I know that's kind of spicy, probably is spicy. I doubt that Darko would end up doing that and making that drastic of a change. I think they probably stick with the Ochai lineup, but I think Boucher should play. Having a veteran is good, but I want to recall something that Darko said about Thad Young. Because of some injuries, one being Jakob Poeltl, Thad Young was forced into a role. He had to play like 15, 20 minutes a night for the Raptors in January. And one thing that Darko mentioned was that Scotty has learned so much from Thad just by being on the floor with Thad. And that's a little bit different when you actually are on the floor with the guy versus just hearing it on the bench or in the locker room. It's a little bit different when you're actually experiencing it with him out there. And I do think that Boucher can sort of bring that element too, as far as energy goes, as far as rebounding goes, as far as his intensity on defense, his focus level. I think a lot of these make Boucher a valuable veteran to play. And so I think he should play. And I really do think that it would make sense for them developmentally to play a player like Chris Boucher too. So it's sort of a give and take because I understand where the Raptors are coming from, where, Jordan Nwora is an unrestricted free agent. And so they want to see what Nwora can do. They want to see what more Ochai Agbaji can do. They want to see some of these younger guys, the DJ Cartons and Jamias Ramses and, whatnot, right? Like they're trying to see what these guys can do. And so, yes, they want to give these guys extra opportunity, but I do think in the name of developing your core guys in RJ and Quickley, Boucher makes a lot of sense for this group as it currently stands. Raptors don't win, but I didn't expect them to win, but I did like the fact that they fought hard and they did well doing so. It's going to be a tough road trip. Even though you're playing Portland and Portland and Detroit as well, it's still going to be tough just because of the amount of bodies you have down. Going to be very interested to see what those lottery odds look like in a week's time, because Memphis is now just one game back, or one game ahead, whichever way you want to call it. But Raptors could be with 6th odds in a week's time, depending on how things shake out. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is back. Desmond Bane is reportedly coming back soon. So we'll see how this shakes out, folks. We will see how the odds shake out over the next month. There was a lot of good basketball on tonight. Anthony Edwards with the block, Peyton Watson jumping over Jokic. The Celtics-Nuggets game was incredible. So if you didn't watch the Raptors game, thank you for watching this recap. And yes, subscribe to Raptors Republic. As always, they do incredible work on the YouTube side, on the written side of things. Be on the lookout for something I've written for Raptors Republic. It's coming out, I'm assuming, over the next week. And thank you. Appreciate it. I will see you guys later. Take care.